Okay, let's dive into a really specific part of the ancient texts today. We're looking at Leviticus chapter 12.
Right. And the focus here is, well, it's all about the regulations for a woman after she gives birth.
Specifically dealing with what the text calls ceremonial uncleanness and then the process of purification.
Exactly. And one thing that jumps out right away is that the rules laid out, they actually differ based on the sex of the newborn child.
Yeah, that's quite striking from the outset. So the text presents sort of two different pathways back to ceremonial cleanliness.
Precisely. It really depends entirely on whether she's had a son or a daughter. Two distinct tracks.
Okay, so let's start with the son. How does the text describe that process beginning?
Well, for son, it says the woman is ceremonially unclean for 7 days.
7 days.
And it explicitly compares this initial uncleanness to the time of her usual monthly period.
And we should probably clarify, ceremonial uncleanness here isn't about hygiene as we think of it or, moral feeling.
Not at all. It's a ritual state. It primarily affects her ability to participate in certain religious rituals or enter sacred spaces. It's about ritual status, basically.
Right. Then the text mentions circumcision for the boy on the 8th day, just after those first 7 days.
It does, yes. But then it pivots right back to the mother's purification. It says she then has to wait another 33 days.
33 days? For what exactly?
To be purified from her bleeding, is how the text puts it.
Okay, so 7 days of initial uncleanness, then another 33 days of purification. That adds up to 40 days total for a son.
40 days, exactly. That's the time frame given for her purification to be complete after having a son.
And during that purification time, those 33 days, are there rules?
Yes, very clear restrictions. The text states she shouldn't touch anything sacred, and she's barred from entering the sanctuary.
Right, okay. So that covers the 40 days. Now, you said it's different if she gives birth to a daughter. How different?
Significantly different. The numbers basically double.
Double.
Yeah. If she has a daughter, the initial period of uncleanness is 14 days, 2 weeks. Again, described like her period.
15 days instead of 7. Okay.
And then following that, the purification period from her bleeding is also much longer. It's 66 days.
66. Wow. So that's 14 plus 66.
Yeah.
80 days. A full 80 days before her purification is complete if she has a daughter.
Exactly 80 days. Precisely twice the time required after having a son.
That's a really stark difference. Do the same restrictions apply during that much longer 66-day purification period? The not touching sacred things, not entering the sanctuary?
Absolutely. That restriction holds firm throughout the entire purification period, whether it's the 33 days for a son or the 66 for a daughter. No sacred items, no sanctuary access until it's complete.
Okay. So once these periods are over 40 days for a son, 80 for a daughter, what happens then? How does she formally complete this process and become ceremonially clean again?
The final step involves bringing specific sacrifices. She needs to bring them to the priest right at the entrance to the tent of meeting.
Sacrifices? What kind?
The text specifies two things: a year-old lamb for what's called a burnt offering, and then a young pigeon or a dove for a sin offering.
A burnt offering and a sin offering. Interesting.
And the text is quite explicit about the purpose. It says the priest offers these to make atonement for her.
Atonement. So that act by the priest completes her ritual purification.
Yes, that seems to be the idea. The atonement ritual restores her state of ritual cleanness. Then the text says she is clean from her flow of blood, allowing her full participation again. It's a very defined ritual endpoint.
Now, there's also something about affordability, isn't there? What if bringing a lamb was too difficult?
Ah, yes, that's a really interesting practical point in the text. It includes a provision for that exact situation.
So what was the alternative?
If she couldn't afford a lamb, the text allows her to bring 2 doves or 2 young pigeons instead.
2 birds instead of the lamb and a bird?
Exactly. One bird serves as the burnt offering and the other is the sin offering. The priest still performs the atonement rite with these, and the outcome is the same. She is declared ceremonially clean.
So it acknowledges economic realities while maintaining the core ritual requirement for atonement.
Precisely. It ensures the process is accessible.
Okay, so summing up, we have these specific regulations in Leviticus 12 for a woman after childbirth, varying lengths of uncleanness and purification, 40 days for a son, 80 for a daughter.
Right, with clear restrictions on contact with the sacred during purification.
And then a concluding requirement for sacrifices, a lamb and a bird, or two birds if needed, brought to the priest for atonement to finalize her return to ceremonial cleanliness.
Those are the core steps laid out in this chapter.
It's fascinating how detailed it is. The specific time frames, the doubling for a daughter, the precise sacrifices. It really makes you think. What do these detailed rules about purity and time reveal to you, the listener, about the concerns and the worldview embedded in this ancient text? Something to consider.